We talked to Ian Anderson about recording the famous album Aqualung from the early 70s. I'm John Beaudin from Rocky Stream Music. Aqualung was recorded at the Virgin Studios in London between 1970 and 1971. As Ian Anderson points out, Led Zeppelin were in the next studio. And there were rumors back then that, well, it was a former church, that the place was haunted. I asked Ian Anderson about recording that album and maybe some ghosts.
Well, there's certainly nothing in my mind around that time. If anybody mentioned it to me, I'm afraid it didn't impact it on me on me one little bit. But you know, I found the ambience of the recording studio not because it was a church. I'm these days, I'm at home in the church or cathedrals and places of worship of other faiths. I have no problem being in the house of God. And it's a place that, and I work, I do lots of concerts, well, not lots, but several concerts a year. I perform in cathedrals or churches. And, for me, it's kind of another day in the office with an ambience that's very special and something very important to me in terms of drawing upon it. But it's definitely not the Island Records Basing Street studio. The fact that it had been a church didn't mean anything to me. It was just rotten acoustics and a rather cold and horrible a building which wasn't cozy and comfortable. You were constantly reminded you were in a big room that wasn't designed as a recording studio. Mm-hmm. The basement, which was the crypt of the church, had been was a much smaller space, and we only got in there once or twice to record because Led Zeppelin had it block booked, and so we didn't get in there. We had to use the big room upstairs, which was pretty horrid. If it was haunted, it didn't impact upon me at all. But there are other places I've been in which were reputed to be seriously haunted, where you were inclined to feel a little uncomfortable. But those are different stories.
We'll have one more from Ian Anderson coming up next week. Make sure you comment on our videos, subscribe to our channel, and share our videos. I'm John Beaudin from Rocky Stream Music.